Hey, yo. Welcome back to Absolute Intense Wrestling's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I am joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What is up, Thorne?
I'm here recording this podcast. What's going on?
Another week is upon us. This time we are show week. It is week of Black Friday, Hell on Earth.
How does that make you feel?
I just looked at something the other day. Hell on Earth 13 was my first Hell on Earth, so now we're at Hell on Earth 19. So it definitely makes me feel some sort of way, and I haven't even been coming that long. There's people out there, obviously, who have decades on me of AIW, but yeah, it's just crazy. Hell on Earth 19.
It'll be my 19th one.
You were at all 19 of them, eh?
Yeah. It'll be my 19th one. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But it does. So it's kind of interesting because Hell on Earth is always going to kind of have a higher number based on, we did a Hell on Earth during COVID. Mm-hmm. That was kind of like our kickoff, getting back into the swing of the regular schedule. So it's kind of weird because Hell on Earth is now numbered higher than the other stuff. To close out the year. It's kind of strange, but that number 19 means that the number 20 is coming up, and I can confirm that we are working on a location for AIW's 20th anniversary this May. So that will be May of next year. It'll be 20 years of AIW, which is a crazy thing to say out loud. Didn't even really hit me until I was looking at trying to put a schedule together, and, that just like 25, and I went, whoa, that's 20 years. So we did revamp a little bit of the schedule to make it to where, the May event will be the 20th anniversary event. So you'll see a little bit of shuffling of the scheduling. Typically, we're doing Gauntlet now around, May. So you're going to see a little bit of a change in that next year, so we can dedicate the May event to the 20th anniversary of AIW. So we're working on that. We're working on a location for that. So yeah, just kind of exciting things to get, getting ready, heading into 2025. It's strange to have been doing this for 20 years. Still don't feel like we have it totally figured out, or, it's never like a formulaic, just going through the motions thing. It's always, there's some things that need to be adjusted and changed and evolved. And it seems like the 20th year is going to be no different. But we've begun the process of trying to get more organized for next year. And, that's one of the things that, we're kind of looking forward to on the schedule will be 20 years of AIW in May.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm very excited for that. We had another announcement too. We alluded to it last week on the podcast, but we did make the formal announcement that we will be returning to the greater Cleveland area in 2025 to Lakewood, Ohio, to the Roxy. The day after.
That was kind of a thing that was like right in the midst of finalizing when we were podcasting last week. There were emails, actually, like I was like responding to emails and reading emails as we were recording next week, trying to kind of dot the I's and cross the T's on that whole deal. And it ended up getting announced, like, they pretty much announced it as soon as everything was like signed, sealed, and delivered. So like it got announced kind of before the podcast even came out, like we had recorded, and then I was going to edit it the following day. And in that kind of, interim there, that we were able to finalize everything. And, shout out to Jesse the Mark for whipping up a graphic real quick. And, we were able to get that whole thing announced. So, very exciting to be back in the Lakewood area. I went and looked at the space. It's a very cool space, a very intimate space. Reminds me of, the Odeon in a sense. It's just a little bit, kind of deeper and more open than the Odeon was. But, very similar kind of intimate space to where, the shows of the Roxy are certainly going to come with the risk of selling out in advance, I think. I mean, I think that's kind of the plan that we're looking at in 2025 is to kind of add to more of that excitement and momentum that we used to have and, driving that desire to get people, excited to come and, kind of create that FOMO in a sense of, you could, if you wait till the day of, you could miss it. So kind of trying to just, revamp how we do things and get back to that. I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks, but that's really been, something that I feel strongly about is getting back to that more kind of intimate space and, that kind of, I just feel like we've always done well in those like mid-size concert venues. I really love the Temple. I mean, it was my dream to run that room. Since, I saw ECW in there for the first time live.
Yeah.
And we did it, and I can say we did it, and I think we did well, but, and obviously there's so much more room to grow into a space like that, but I think there's just more, of a benefit to going to these mid-level, concert venues to where, we can really pack people in there and really have get that just going. Electric vibe and atmosphere that we had in so many different places. I felt like we were able to get such a high volume of fans into the Temple, but I feel like everybody was so spread out, and we've had 700 people in there, and it's cool, but seeing that entire top bowl empty just kind of deflates the success of those things. As silly as that sounds, it just kind of it just kind of takes the momentum out of things. So I think going to these mid-level places again, like mid-size, not mid-level but mid-size, is going to be a good kind of adjustment for AIW to make in 2025. And like I said, we're going to be at the Roxy in January and in March, and then we're also working on a additional location for the 20th anniversary event in May, and then potentially from there we're going to see where things go. But we're working with a few different venues, have interest since we kind of entered that free agency of our agreement with the Temple. So it's exciting to have a few different options and being able to explore those things. And luckily we started this process back in August, so it's been months of working through this stuff and trying to get a schedule together. But it's looking very promising for next year.
Big return to January with a big name too, a fan favorite, crowd favorite. People are always asking us to bring back Effie. So, like you were saying, we want, this is something that you think, possibly to sell out before, day of show. I mean, you're talking about bringing a name that people are always, clamoring for us to bring back. So definitely want to get tickets. Those are on sale too, I believe, to the general public, not just Patreon, correct?
Yeah, they're totally on sale now. The Roxy Malls, they use something called Dice for their ticketing service. So you can find the links on all of our social media, on the Roxy social media. But I know that I was pretty clear about this, especially in our Discord. But the premium seating for the Roxy events, we're only doing about 80 guaranteed seats. And then the rest is going to be kind of standing room or, whatever additional, chairs and seating that they're going to put in that space. But if you want a chair, you got to get in those first two rows, which is greatly reduced than what we normally do. So at any other venue, we've never done only 40 seats, maybe during the COVID, social distancing era, but, we're keeping it, at least for this first one in January. We're going super, super small as far as, because we don't know, if we could fit more, or so we don't want to oversell it. So January is going to be 40 front rows, 40 second rows, and then the rest is going to be, standing room only, whatever. I don't know if they're going to have bar tables and things in there like that.
Yeah.
But, we're definitely looking to kind of up that kind of, just that fun atmosphere that we had at the Odeon, and we were able to do, more seating with the stage and stuff like that at the Odeon. So, this is just going to be a little bit of a different approach until we get a feel for the room. So at least for this first one, and then, maybe in March that could increase, but at least for January, we're only doing 40 in the front row, 40 in the second row. So people that want to wait, I don't suggest you wait on getting those if you want a guaranteed seat for January in Lakewood.
Yeah, so if you want to sit down, if you're the type of person that you're like, you know what, yeah, I would almost liken it in between Winchester and the Odeon. There's going to be more chairs than a Winchester, but definitely less than the Odeon, but very much in the vein of the Odeon, where the rest will just kind of be general admission, wherever you can stand, wherever you can,
right,
find yourself to see. So if you're a person who definitely is like, you know what, my old ass, I'm sitting down. I'm sorry, I can't stand for 4 hours, so I'd be wanting a seat. So if you're the type of person who wants a seat, knows you want to sit down on these first couple shows, I wouldn't wait around, because like John's saying, with the amount of premium seating that we're taking away from the normal what we sell, you definitely don't want to be left out standing and then upset all day. So definitely get on that.
Yeah, and it's just the fact that they don't have a lot of chairs. They're a concert venue. They typically do standing room only for everything.
Right.
So it's one of those situations to where we also don't want to go and over rent chairs based on how we see, how we can set the room up, things like that. You know what I mean? I've gone on there and I've eyeballed it. It's all going to fit, but it's a whole different animal when you're trying to put rows and stuff like that. You need the whole ring and everything in there to know for sure. So we're going super, super light for January as far as premium seating is concerned. And then, we're going to move on from there. And then it's going to be similar probably for the 20th anniversary show based on, the venue I'm speaking with right now. However, there is going to be probably a few more rows and options for premium seating. I know people are big fans of the tables and things like that at the temple. So, I'm trying to bring that back as well in some capacity. The tables of 4 and things like that. But
yeah,
you're probably going to be seeing some information on that sooner rather than later, as far as the announcement of where we're going to be going in May for the 20th anniversary show. I know that they're looking, probably to roll that out, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. They want to get that announced and get tickets on sale for that. So, it is kind of it's a bit overwhelming. We're announcing all these shows.
Yeah.
But we're trying to be proactive and ahead of the game and get these tickets out there and on sale and let people plan. Instead of, announcing a show with, 3 or 4 weeks notice. We're trying to really get ahead of the game here and get things rolling. So in the schedule as it stands right now, I'm sure it'll change, based on different things, but it's a little lighter than it's been in previous years as it stands right now. And there's going to be probably a big layoff. We are going somewhere else in February that is not announced yet. And then there's going to be kind of a big layoff from February until, late March. So we're trying to space things out and give people time and stuff like that, instead of stacking so many shows and then, filling in like we used to fill in like a Winchester or, something like that. We're kind of taking those off the table for right now until we can kind of rebuild, I feel, this kind of momentum that we had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was even going to say, I know we're kind of hitting you with a lot of information, but we did announce our December show for Terror at the Tadmor. We had an announcement for that. We're going to be seeing the return of Paul London, which I had to mention. One of my all-time favorite people, Parking Lot Paul, will be back in Akron. So if you're a big fan of Paul London, which I don't know how you couldn't be, especially if you were there for any of those garbage-fueled mayhem evenings. We're going to be bringing Paul London back to the Tadmor for Terror at the Tadmor. I can't think of a better performer for Terror at the Tadmor than Paul London, because people went running and screaming when that man pulled a bag of garbage out of that can.
Yeah, and I'm also working on a pretty cool meet and greet for that. I'm just waiting on kind of, finalizing the details on that. Fairly rare meet and greet person. So working on detail, trying to get that, it just wasn't totally ironed out yet. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and I booked Paul London as well, just so, we had something cool to put on the poster to start. Yeah. And then you're going to learn more about it on Friday, but, the things that are planned for Terror at the Tadmor, it is a very optimistic idea that I don't think people are going to want to miss. I know, we say that about everything, but it is I've seen things that have been, all I'm saying is things are being built, okay? And I've seen things that have been built so far, and it is not safe, and I think people are going to want to see it in person. Is all. I'll just kind of leave that as a tease. So again, yes. If you want those premium seats, we dropped the prices, compared to what we normally do in Akron. We've dropped everything down. Front row is only $45, all the way down to GA is dropped all the way down to $15 for Terror at the Tadmor. We want to also rebuild the momentum that we had in Akron. So we're not exactly sure what happened, why things, we saw such great growth in Cleveland and kind of, things declining in the Akron area. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to make adjustments to, where we can rebuild that. And then we're also going to take probably an extended amount of time off from when we go to Akron. So you probably won't see us back in Akron until maybe the springtime-ish as it stands right now. So December will be the last one in Akron for a while.
And I know, as you mentioned before, Akron kind of going to be the place that we are going to do some of this meet and greet stuff. So, this one that you're talking about that we haven't announced yet, that might be the, a meet and greet. You might not see one, January, February type meet and greet. So that's definitely something, if you're a big meet and greet person, which I'm sure it's going to be somebody great, you may want to get your tickets, because you never know who it could be. The tickets might fly once that get announced. But you're not, like you said, we're not going to see a lot as many of these meet and greets, especially not in the proper Cleveland area.
Right. I mean, we're just, I'm more focused on the in-ring presentations and just the overall atmosphere. That was the one thing, with the Temple, we were able to, book really, really big names, and we did see great success in doing that. I don't know that you're going to see a lot of that right now, next year as we move to these places, where capacity is much smaller than the Temple, so I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to oversell it at all. We're just trying to get the word out there so people are aware. If nobody's been in the Roxy before, it's a very intimate concert facility connected to Mahall's. But once you put a wrestling ring in there, you're really going to cut the capacity in that space. So we have a very, very very firm number to where we're going to cut it off in January, just to see what it's like in there. So there's a very big possibility that you could get turned away. It's not going to be like, it's not one of those spaces to where, like at the Temple, we were doing $15 GA and it was just like, come one, come all.
Yeah.
There's certainly a possibility that, the GAs could could sell out. The G, like everything has a set number for the Roxy events. So, just something for everybody to consider.
Right. Okay, well, that was a lot of information for everybody, but, like we said, we had a lot of announcements, wanted to, get everything out there for everybody to start their planning and whatnot for the upcoming year. But I do want to get into this card for Hell on Earth 19. I'm very excited. This is my 7th Hell on Earth, I believe if the math is right, but I'm very excited. This one, there's a lot of matches. I don't even know where I want to start on the card. Obviously, I guess we'll go with the Freeview first, but there's just so many great matches on this card. Again, we're talking about this Freeview, something you'll be able to see for free on YouTube before the match starts to kind of get you, get you excited for the show and set that tempo and set the pace of the show. And I think the 6-way that we have is going to be a perfect, perfect starter to this Hell on Earth. We got a 6-way that's going to include Vic Vice, Tyson Riggins.
Riggs.
No, I'm calling him Riggins. I'm sorry. There is no more Riggs as far as I'm concerned. He is Riggins. He's come too far now to be Riggs in my mind. But Vic Vice, Tyson Riggs, Trey Lamar, Shelby Wilder, Austin James, and Tyler Jordan. So some of the newer faces that you've seen in AIW, but six that have been climbing the ranks. I guess Trey Lamar been around for a little while, but aside from him, five
climbing
newer
the ranks,
guys.
Though, still climbing the ranks.
Right, he went away for a little bit, I guess, and then kind of came back and has been sort of establishing himself since then. So I guess that's kind of why I lumped him in with that. But 6 guys, similar styles but different at the same time. I'm excited for the 6-way.
I know we talked about it a little bit, after the J-Lit and things like that, but we really want to use this space, the Freeview, so to speak, space as we're branding it now, to really put, our best foot forward. So, this is really going to be, what you consider like an opener for the show or something like that. But to really kind of, take that traditional pre-show match ideology away and, give them actually more time and, just kind of take those reins off and let people go crazy in these Freeview spots because, we're going to put them on social media for free. We're going to try to, direct people to our new kind of, streaming home, which is on YouTube, behind the paywall for $6.99 on the AIW YouTube, which I guess we should maybe address that too before we get into it. I know that there's some people have trouble finding how to join. And yes. I think it's something on Apple products, don't quote me on this, but all the research that we've kind of found is Apple kind of takes the button away. If you're trying to sign up on an iPhone or an iPad or, within Apple, like an app.
I was going to say specifically in the YouTube app. Like if you're on an iPhone and you're in the YouTube app, because this actually happened to me. The reason we kind of started breaching this is because I go, all right, guys, I get in the group chat. I got to plead ignorance on this one. I cannot find how to hit the subscribe because I had already been subscribed to your YouTube when it was just straight free. But I was trying to sign up for the paid subscription and I could not find it anywhere to the point where we were on that. Then the whole group chat's going on the app, trying to figure it out. So it seems like if you're on the actual app, the iPhone YouTube app, we don't know why or what it's going on, but you have to go to a PC or a laptop or go to a specific web browser. Yeah, or
if you use, the web browser on your phone, I believe that you can do it as opposed to the app. You have to do it through the web browser. Mm-hmm. You'll be able to find the join button.
Yes.
It's all kind of new to us. New endeavor, so to speak, but we're trying to kind of build this out, because at the end of the day, like once you sign up, then you can get it on all the apps. And,
right.
and
yeah.
everything.
Yeah. It's there and everything's there. Also, like you won't have to use that browser every time you you can go back to your, but I could not find it that day. And we're like, what the hell? And then we really started digging in. Yeah. So once you sign up, you'll be good to go. But yeah, that was, and I've had a couple people ask in the Discord, and there was a few questions about that. Yeah. So I'm glad we did mention that.
Yeah. So, just try to sign up on a, either like some sort of traditional web browser, be it on your phone or your computer, or, if you're using an Apple device. Android devices have no issue signing up, but, I know some people had asked. So, try to do it, on some sort of web browser if you're using an Apple device. And then, obviously, once you're signed up, and then, you log back into the app on your, whatever device, all the things are going to be there, and you can still cast the stream, to your TV, or, there's just a lot more. Once you kind of get past that, there's just so many more options to access the AW content. We have, we have a ton of shows already up there for free, or well, not for free, but, to stream as far as the library is concerned. In the $14.99 tier, we've been putting up all kinds of premium content, sit down, in-depth interviews, and long form vlogs and things like that are up there as well. I think we uploaded like 4 behind the curtain interviews in the last month or so. So there's all kinds of all kinds of great content up there. For people to see if they want to see it. If you just want to see the live stream, $6.99. If you don't want to watch it live, we are going to, a day or two, in the $5 tier on our Patreon, we will upload the show. So there's so many different kind of options to view AW stuff. Again, like the handcuffs are kind of off as far as where we can experiment and try different things. And, we're probably going to be seen by less people, than when we were on Triller, but, just based on a variety of factors, I feel like sometimes less eyes is more profitability for the company. And at the end of the day, like we can't pay people on viewership that we're not getting paid for. You know what I mean? Like it's just, this is an experiment. I hope it works. I think, YouTube is certainly, everybody has it. Everybody knows what it is. We just have to get people to understand how to sign up for that paywall option, which is kind of a fairly new step for people who use YouTube.
Another reason to sign up for the YouTube, we just recently streamed Wrestle Rager. The stream for Wrestle Rager is up, available to watch. So if you missed Wrestle Rager this summer, obviously it didn't stream live. One of those venues where unfortunately we can't really stream live with the internet issues. And if you've been to Wrestle Rager, you just know that Wrestle Rager is just sort of a whole vibe itself in that day. You just kind of got to be there for it. But if you weren't, or if you had too many Mad Dog 2020s or whatever, a little bit too much sun that day, you can go back and re-experience it now because Wrestle Rager is up on YouTube.
Yeah, but I just wanted to address that before we kind of got into, talking more about this stuff. But the free view is, it's to direct people, to that, to purchase the stream. So, we're kind of taking all those kind of traditional rules of a pre-show or a dark match off, because it's no longer dark. It's going to probably be seen by more people than the actual stream is. So it's kind of a very important spot on the show going forward.
It's definitely going to be a place where, like you're saying, you're going to want performers to go out there and have these people who are seeing it for free go, well, shit, if that's what they're giving away for free, I mean, come on, what's the rest of this show going to hold, going forward? If that's the tone you're setting for free right off match one, the rest of the show's got to be incredible. So we're definitely looking to put, people into these positions to really kind of show what they can got in the free view.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keeping going forward in the card, like I said, there's almost it's hard to even say where to go from here.
Well, you forgot to mention that Tully Blanchard is going to be there doing a meet and greet during the pre-show as well. So from like 6:30 to 7:30, you'll have the opportunity to meet Tully Blanchard if you want to participate in the meet and greet. I would expect this is probably going to be the only time Tully Blanchard is coming to AIW or anywhere in this area to do a meet and greet autograph signing. So I would certainly take advantage of that. As well as Donovan Dijak will also be participating in the pre-show meet and greet session as well. So an opportunity to meet at least two people this Friday prior to the show, the main show beginning.
Oh yeah, that's my bad. I had the matches up now. I forgot that poster's on the other page. But Tully Blanchard, huge name coming to this area. I know friend of the show Sam is very, very excited to meet Tully Blanchard. He told me he had one person he really wanted us to bring in, and when he found out that we were bringing in Tully, he almost thought it was fake. He was like so excited. So yeah. He's excited. Donovan Dijak, another guy. I know a lot of people. He's been doing some indie dates. He's really, it's definitely a guy you want to come check out. Donovan Dijak, huge name. Come meet and greet those. We did mention too, you'd have to think this isn't a guarantee. We don't know for sure, but I would have to assume Beast Mordo's probably going to be doing a meet and greet. Don't quote me on it, but I would have to think he'll probably be out and around somewhere.
So. Yeah, I would imagine he'll be out there at some point as well.
Yeah. But going forward in the card, this was one that was actually recently announced that I said, I can't even believe this is one we're doing. This is just a four-way of just four absolute maniacs. We have Derek Dillinger with Katie Arquette versus the Bone Collector, Dominic Guarini, versus the Prize, Alex Price, versus the Problem, Isaiah Broner. Four just insane people in this match. This is a four-way. I didn't know I needed to see this, but I definitely do.
I think this is a four-way that just, you could say a lot about everybody in this match, but I think it really shows the depth of the AIW roster, and it shows the development of the AIW roster, in kind of the years of development in a lot of these people, to where you go, wow, that is a crazy mix of talent to be in one match. And I think, that's one of those things to where, I look at this match and it's just like, you did this 5 years ago. Nobody would care about it. But it just shows like the amount of time that we've put in to all these performers, and, how it feels like it is a big time match, even when I look at it, and I hope people feel the same. I feel like it's not always like the most accepted way of doing things, the way AIW does it, how we spend so much time on trying to, establish different and new people, and it's kind of a long road, and you see a lot of it coming out of, with people coming out of the school and things like that, and it's not always like the most exciting way of being a wrestling promotion. But then when people start connecting and start getting there, and you're able to put a match together like this, where 3 out of the 4 have, come through the AIW program in some capacity, and it looks like a very big match, and like I said, I don't know if I'm just stuck in our own little bubble, but I feel like this is kind of, the end product of a lot of that time in, development part of independent pro wrestling that is not necessarily the most exciting at times.
Understandable, but I mean, yeah, this match is going to go hard. That's for sure. That to me, that was a real long way of saying this is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think this whole show's good, really. I don't know how we're already a half hour in, so I don't even know how we're going to break down all these matches, in a relatively, concise amount of time. But I think this whole show is good. I think this is, a product of it. I think, going back to that J-Lit final with Eric Taylor and Mikey Montgomery, which is on the show, I think that's another, kind of sure thing of, putting, these guys have such a storied history together. There's just so much that can be done here, and I think people are invested in both ways, in both directions. for different reasons. I think people really want to see Mikey kind of overcome, and thought maybe he was the guy, and Eric kind of got that success prior to Mikey getting it. And I think that there's probably some resentment from the AIW fans about that. And I think, they're kind of invested in seeing Mikey overcome. This was the J-Lit final. It didn't work out for Mikey again. I think people are sick of Eric Taylor, and I think they want their guy, Mikey Montgomery, to be the guy. I think that this one can be an electric atmosphere. You can say the same about PME and Money Shot getting that big rematch from Absolution. I think people were really fed up with Money Shot and wanted to see PME back as the premier AIW tag team. And these two teams always work well together. I think Money Shot is extremely underrated as a tag team as a whole in the Midwest. I can't believe that these guys are not more places and or on television somewhere. I mean, I think these guys are tremendous. Whether you like them or you don't, they're extremely talented. And same goes for PME. There's just so much good stuff on this show.
Yeah, as I was saying, I wasn't even sure how to really run down these matches, but real quick on the Mikey and Eric Taylor talking about that match, Eric had said on Twitter, wait a minute, I already did this one, and I said, I think we've seen this one more than once, but to be honest with you, right now in AIW, I don't think there's a match I'd want to see more than this one for a third time or how many ever times we've done this. These two, I think, have so much going right now, and they just so much left to be answered. I can't wait for that for that one again, Eric and Mikey. And then again with PME versus Money Shot, a team that we haven't seen for a little while. They kind of went away a little bit after Absolution, and you have to think that they're hungry to come back to AIW and show everyone, why they think Absolution was a fluke and what. And I mean, you look at a team like Money Shot. I mean, they went on a crazy long run in AIW of just destroying teams,
not being beaten. Yeah, they went undefeated forever
for a long time.
I think they've only lost once, I think.
Right. So you definitely got to think, those guys are coming back, with serious revenge to try and prove to these people and to prove to the AIW crowd and PME and everyone that, they were the title holders for a reason. So another match, tag match, very excited for PME versus Money Shot for the tag belts.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much good stuff on this show. Matthew Justice versus Speed Mortis. I don't know that you even need to elaborate any further on that. I think that is going to be absolutely just crazy. I think it's a unique matchup of styles, and there's just a lot of combustible elements as far as that match is concerned. John Wayne Murdoch and Filthy Tom Lawler, same
Very
exact
excited.
thing.
Yes.
I think that this is just, this is one of those matches that makes AIW unique, because I don't think you're going to see these two mix it up anywhere else. And John Wayne Murdoch actually reached out to me and was just like, I'm really excited about, these different matchups that you've given me, these last couple months, because him and Kaplan was just fucking nuts, and one of my favorite matches of the year for sure. And now John Wayne Murdoch's going to get in there with Filthy Tom Lawler, which, again, a very unique mesh of styles. But, Tom could get in there and kind of do any style. He's, one of the most versatile performers on the independents. So I'm very much looking forward to that too.
Yeah, both of those matches, Justice versus Beast Mortis. I think there's only two things really that need to be said about that, and that's for the brand and Justice's other catchphrase: buy the ticket, take the ride, because that one is going to be a ride for sure. That's really all you need to say about that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Filthy and John Wayne, I'm excited for that one, like you said, for a lot of reasons. But John Wayne, a guy who I think is a great performer. Same with Filthy, but like you said, I think sometimes he goes to these promotions and they just want to stick him in a death match. And hey, just hit light tubes or this or that. I'm excited to see him mix it up with Filthy, who can go anyway. Filthy, he's got many styles, like you said, as much as anybody on the independent. So I'm very excited to see what these two are going to do.
And I know we've used this kind of comparison a zillion times, but I just love these like matchups that you can kind of, pay homage to the old original UFCs, you know what I mean? Of just this like weird, just two guys getting in there and seeing what happens. That's just kind of the stuff I love, just like two just total different styles, and you just don't know what's going to come of it.
Yeah. Tom had posted a handful of those clips of real early UFC on Twitter. I know, and we'd all had a kind of little bit of a discussion about some of those stuff because, those were some wild matchups back in the day for sure. And I definitely agree with you. I think you're right. This is definitely reminiscent of some of those. Just like, who knows what we're going to see out of these two,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's just so much good stuff on this card. Jocelyn Navarro and Mila Moore, she's very, highly recommended prospect who's been doing all kinds of shows all over the country. So very excited to, for her to make her AIW debut against the gold standard, Jocelyn Navarro. There's just, what else we got on this card? There's just, everything is just, I mean, this is just one of those great kind of lineups to where I was just very, very happy with how this whole thing came together, to be perfectly honest with you. We got Shaw and Wes Barkley.
Yeah, sorry, it's three more. Shaw and Wes Barkley for the title, for the Intense belt.
Which, then, big test for Shaw. He was able to beat Dom in Absolution. So kind of had a title match coming his way. And Wes Barkley, regaining that title. This is going to be very unique in the sense that this was Shaw's first match. His first ever opponent was Wes Barkley. Mm-hmm. So I think Shaw has a ton to prove in that regard, as well as he wants his first title in AIW. I don't think Wes wants to lose the title again, after just getting it back. Mm-hmm. Kind of in crazy fashion at the end of that ladder match. So, I think that there's who knows, both are known to kind of have different pockets of fan support. So it's going to be interesting to see, if they have people kind of coming out and, who's going to get the support of the fans on Friday night, because, both are pretty beloved.
Yes.
At different times. And this is kind of be a unique situation to kind of see where's the crowd going to go. Are they going to go with Shaw, or are they going to go with Wes? Typically, I don't really like doing babyface stuff. But this is just kind of where the cards fell after, Shaw defeated Dom, and he was kind of due to, get in there and mix it up for a title.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I definitely think, that Shaw has been climbing the ranks. There's a lot of people in the AIW world who think, who were saying that he deserves a title shot. Wes getting the title back very recently, something he was very vocal about. He did not like losing the title. He was very vocal about getting it back. But he also said, I read on Twitter, I know that, Wes said, hey, let's see what you got, kid. He did have his first match against Wes, and I think Wes is excited to kind of get back in there with him again and see what the kid's got. And it like you said, it's going to be extremely, extremely interesting to see where the crowd goes, because you are very correct. These are two very, the crowd gets behind both of these guys extremely and a lot in both of their in their matches, and I'm going to be interested to see how it's going to happen, when they're facing each other for sure. Going forward, we have two behemoths on this one. I know we mentioned earlier about the Donovan Dijak meet and greet, but we got Donovan Dijak going up against our Sam Hardway Holloway. Two big boys getting in there and seeing what comes out. This one I'm pretty excited for.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a big test for Sam. I think people forget, Sam is still fairly new into his wrestling journey. Young, still has a ton to learn, and Donovan Dijak is kind of a well experienced, well traveled veteran. Has wrestled pretty much everywhere. Long WWE run, looking to kind of get back and continue to make his name. Both have quite a bit of size. Both are very very, very large men, very large athletic men. So I think that there's just a lot of unique things that can happen here. I think, Obviously, Sam wants to, continue to, make a name for himself. And, I think Dijak doesn't want a name to be made,
of him in a sense, almost.
Yeah. He doesn't want anybody to make their name, to spite him or, he doesn't want to be the guy taking the pin.
Right.
So, I think that this one is going to be very exciting, very unique. I think Sam is very comparable, in a lot of ways to Dijak. This one could go either way, honestly. But I think, it's kind of one of those things that you're not going to want to miss live if you have the opportunity to see it live, because who knows when you'll be able to get to see it, if you'll be able to get to see something like this again.
Right. And then finally, our main event, we will have Chuck Stone, our champion, absolute champion, with the Duke versus the challenger, Kaplan. And these two have been jawing a little bit back and forth. This is a rematch from the Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament, a tournament in a match in which Kaplan lost his hardcore belt to Chuck Stone, and I know that Kaplan is very upset about that. He's made mention of it as such. But then Chuck also feeling like he has something to prove as well. He had said on Twitter and in his promo that, he earned these belts, that this wasn't something that was just, given to him, that he's earned these belts. And I think Kaplan is an opponent for Chuck, another opponent, he defeated Isaiah Broner, but to beat Kaplan again, I mean, not many people can say they put the 1, 2, 3 on Kaplan twice, right?
Well, you also got to, you have to remember, that was a 4-way, at the Bill Alfonso, so there was a lot of different factors coming into play as far as Kaplan is concerned in that specific instance.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a straight up singles match.
That's my fault. That's when I was at the wedding. I wasn't there, and that's why I was ill-informed on that. I apologize. That's why I don't try to miss, and I look like an asshole.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of different factors there. I don't know if they have locked up in a singles ever before. Mm-hmm. I'm not one that really looks back on stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't think so.
We need that line, the call button to Wadsworth, man. We need to get on.
We need a button,
get Wadsworth on the call.
We need a button, phone a Wadsworth button on the podcast software.
Yeah.
But regardless, Kaplan is pretty well rested. We haven't seen him do too much since Wrestle Rager, so he's had a few months of kind of recouping his body. You got to do that with Kaplan and give him that time to recover. And I think I think the people are ready for Kaplan to be the face of this company. I think much like Money Shot, I think people are sick of Chuck Stone, and I think Kaplan is beloved. I don't know that there's I don't know that there's a bigger opponent that you can put in front of Chuck Stone as far as fanfare is concerned. I would hope that people are, coming out to support Kaplan. Kaplan, mentioned this, which is pretty crazy. He's coming up on a decade of being a trained professional wrestler. A long, long road to get to, a big singles main event title match. Much longer than many others, but, he's here. It's in his home turf. He lives right up the road from Eastlake's 4 Sports. I think that, this is a big moment, a big opportunity for Kaplan. I think the people would love to see Kaplan, but I also think Chuck Stone would love to ruin that for people. Mm-hmm. Chuck Stone is obviously younger, a little bit more athletic. He seems more confident than I've ever seen him before. Seems very comfortable, as champion. Does not seem to, waver really at anything. He seems pretty up for anything.
He has the Duke. You can't count that out. A guy who's been around and seen it all. I mean, the Duke, that's a wild card, that people forget about, man, or they don't forget about, either way. But I mean, the Duke is a big factor in this. in my opinion. You know what I mean? The guy, you know, that's a good person to have on your side.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but Chuck seems just unfazed by any of it.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
I think Kaplan realizes the moment and realizes, hey, you know, I've been doing this for almost 10 years. It's time to kind of level up. And I think Kaplan would be a great champion. You know, you know, I think
Kaplan's championship jerky.
Yeah, I think Chuck doesn't probably carry that championship prestige or whatever. You don't see a lot of activity on social media. You don't see a lot of bragging. You don't see a lot of self-promotion. I don't know if that means he's nervous. He doesn't really let off that he's nervous. Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, as a whole, for the company's sake, I think everybody would get behind Kaplan as far as fans and locker room. I think Kaplan is probably universally beloved in all kind of, you know, behind the curtain and, you know, under the lights, so to speak, in front of the fans. So I think it's a very unique potential for a main event.
Agreed. Oh, yeah. What a card. Hell of a card to run down there. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, like we said, still tickets available. Very limited premium seating, second and third row. And then we have those general admission seats at Four Sports. We had a couple questions in the Discord. Before
we get to that,
sure.
Our friends at Crown Royal will be coming out to Four Sports on Friday and offering some drink specials in the Four Sports bar. So I wanted to kind of get the word out on that for any Crown Royal lovers. They are going to have a few specialty drinks available on Friday nights. The Maserati Mule, which will be Crown Royal Lime and Ginger Beer, will be available. The PME, which is Crown Royal Apple, Cranberry, and Pineapple. And then the Absolute Champion, a la the Chuck Stone, will just be a shot of Crown Royal and a PBR.
Nice.
Will be the specials in the Four Sports bar this Friday. So come ready to drink some specialty Crown Royal drinks Friday night.
I'm gonna do a PME. I think I'm like a Crown and the Crown and Apple and like the Cran. That's my style. I like that. That sounds really good.
Do you remember those? What was it?
Washington Apple.
Those trendy shots. Those Washington Apples.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, that's my style right there. Those are good as hell, man. Washington Apples are good.
Had a bad summer on those ones.
Oh boy. That's exciting though too. You got Crown Royal in the house. That'll be fun.
Yeah, so Crown Royal will be in the house. You know, with some specials. So, you know, please show those drink specials some love. Crown Royal is dropping a little bit of sponsorship cash on us to be able to offer those specials. So we hope that the fan base, you know, shows them some love back and, you know, buy some of these specialty drinks on Friday night. Because, you know, if it goes well, it's something that, you know, they're going to want to do more of in the future at some of these other venues. So something to consider. Obviously, you know, every little bit helps, you know, when we're putting together these shows like this, especially, you know, losing that kind of guaranteed income from Triller and, you know, well, not guaranteed, but, you know, much more guaranteed than probably we're going to get from YouTube as we're in the, you know, very infancy stages of this kind of transition. So, you know, the fact that Crown Royal has stepped up to sponsor the event on Friday, we hope that people, you know, just show them some support and buy some Crown Royal at the Four Sports bar on Friday night.
I like it. I will say, as a person, you know, who highly agrees with Thorne that alcohol, I think, should be available at wrestling events. I think having a brand sponsor like Crown Royal sponsor our events is a great thing. Shows our fans, hey, there's going to be some drinks. You can have a drink at the show. You know, Crown Royal, great brand. I'm very excited. I think that's good stuff. Dustin, I believe, the one who got that done. Way to go, Alberti. That's good shit. Crown Royal is having them as a sponsor, I think, is a big thing. And then
Jeff from corporate, who's trying to get his job back, kind of broke the ice there.
Jeff from corporate, all right.
Set the table with Crown Royal for Dustin to kind of go in there and get the deal done. So
hell yeah.
Just support it. Who knows? If this does well, it could open more doors for more sponsorships and things like that. And especially with our, kind of our. I guess one of the things that we try not to compromise on is having alcohol available at our events.
Yeah,
so
we're a drinking crowd. I mean, it's I consider myself part of the crowd still, but AIW is a drinking crowd. So you should have a drink or two, and represent, because we like to have booze at AIW.
Drink responsibly.
Of
all
course.
that disclaimer stuff. Take an Uber, all that. Don't drink and drive on Friday, but please, if you can, get some Crown Royal drinks at the 4 Sports Bar on Friday night.
Depending, how far you are coming or going from the show, I know there is a hotel like right across the street that is a very nice hotel that has extremely affordable rates for rooms. I think I'm going to get one myself, because I'm about an hour away.
Yeah,
and I don't.
It's a 4 Points. Eastlake is literally like in the next parking lot from the venue. So.
Extremely affordable rates for rooms. You could probably walk right over, park in the hotel parking lot and walk right over, which I think I'm going to have to let my wife know I'm not coming home that night, because I did want to say we did have a question from the Discord. Scott Random, friend of the show, asked, we're going the usual place that we are in Eastlake for our after party, and that was confirmed today. We put the flyer out. We will be returning to the Bogside Pub in Eastlake. I don't think I'm going to be driving all the way back home to Cleveland. I think I'm going to stay my ass out there in Eastlake and hit up the Bogside and have a few beverages.
Super cool place too. Like always, pretty affordable food available late.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. They definitely made a point last time to, have somebody in the kitchen and take care of it, because the wrestlers always trying to get something to eat afterwards. But I know the fans are hungry too, so there is food. It was very good. They're keeping the food and drinks open late. Drink specials there. That is 1079 East 305th Street, which is in Willowwick. I want to say last time, I think me and Tom drove over there and it took like 7 minutes. It's like right around the corner.
Yeah, it's very, very close.
Right there.
Yeah, very close. And like I said, we're trying to get back to these things that like we're making AIW unique and fun and really kind of solidifying the fan base and, just the overall kind of togetherness that the crowd used to be like. You used to be able to go to an after party and you would see 50 people at every after party. You know what I mean? And you knew everybody by name and they were fans and it was great. We want to try to get back to that. We started that towards the end of the year with, Old 86 and getting back in the swing of things with the after parties. Mm-hmm. That is another kind of piece of the puzzle that we're trying to put back in place. Akron, the Akron Green Dragon, not heavily attended by fans yet, but still
great place, though. Yeah.
Great place. We're trying to kind of establish these relationships again and get back to that, get back to those good vibes and, there's the good momentum that we had. I know I keep saying it, maybe, it's something that it's going to be much harder to get back to than it sounds, but we're really making an effort to try to kind of get back to those times and, reestablish that, connection that I feel made AIW one of the more unique independent companies in the country. Mm-hmm. And, we're trying to really focus on those things. We had a big meeting on pros and cons and changes and different things that that have evolved over the last few years. And these are the things that I think we need to get back to, which is more intimate venues, after parties, things like that to, really kind of establish that connection with the fan base again.
Yeah, and Bogside, a great place, much like more in the vein of an Old 86, where it's not a huge place, a little different than Dive Bar. I came to grow to love Dive Bar personally myself, but I know for some fans, they didn't really like it. It was a little too big for them, or it was a little too, it was a DJ playing and stuff like that. Bogside, much more of a very small little pub kind of atmosphere, plenty room for everybody, but not this big giant building. So definitely want to get back to coming out to the after party. It's going to be a lot of fun. Every year at Bogside, excited. We've had a lot of fun out there, so definitely join us for that. Jeremy wants to know, the EVP of Health wants to know, are there any fans bring the weapons matches for Friday? Anything you want to say we could go on that?
I think if you have some weapons you would like to bring within reason on Friday, I'm sure that somebody would use them. That's kind of a general policy, I think.
Kaplan and Chuck, no stranger to weapons, especially from that rematch, from the hardcore tournament, the Fonzie hardcore tournament. I know someone had asked last week about, more of a laxed rules kind of stuff for AIW, and it's Hell on Earth 19, so I can't imagine there's, Big Tom Dunn's going to be stopping the match if somebody pulls out some weapons in that main event there.
Yeah, if you are so inclined to bring some items, I'm sure the items will be properly used.
Fair enough. And then we had one more from Scott Random. He asks, after the Rager stream via YouTube debut that we just had, are there any additional stories you didn't share from that event or weekend that you want to talk about? Man, that's a tough one. It's hard to even remember Rager.
From Russell Rager?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I don't want to share from Russell Rager's past, I'll tell you that. But, nothing too out of the ordinary that I can recall. I mean,
did anybody piss themselves this year? I know that guy pissed himself last year. I don't think anyone pissed their pants this year.
Hornswoggle didn't arrive until the show started. I know that was a big, like, is he going to make it thing? Mm-hmm. He got there like literally right before his thing was supposed to happen, so we had to reshuffle the card around a little bit. Stuff like that. But
I was curious where he was, because he loves to be up there on the porch watching everything go down, and he was not up there the whole time. And I kept going, damn, where the hell is Swoggle? Because he loves getting that bird's eye view up there on the porch, and he was missing all day. Flight delay, and he did not arrive until intermission, so. It was certainly cutting it close. Obviously the Marty Jannetty stuff. And I kind of booked Rhino the day before, as a surprise, just to try to give people something extra. What a great one though. Rhino rules, man. He was awesome.
It wasn't something, people were going to come, whether this is kind of where I'm stupid as far as the promoter goes. It was already sold. We announced Marty was going to be there. Nobody really cared. We probably could have just went about our business. And then, I just felt that I wanted to do something cool. And, I called Rhino and we worked out a deal, and Rhino rolled up in a Hummer and, did the match and then left in his gear because he was double shotting somewhere else in Michigan. So, he came and did it real quick and left. But, I just wanted to do give the people of Russell Rager a cool moment. Nobody expected that. I don't think anybody, was thinking Rhino was just going to pop out. Even though, it was unique because we did the whole card unadvertised, which I thought was, stuff like that is cool. Like when things start selling and you don't really have to rely on getting that stuff out there, that also adds to the atmosphere. So everything was like a mystery match. So it just made for a much cooler day. And, that is kind of another, as strange as it sounds, kind of factor in us wanting to go smaller in a sense, because, sometimes, if the show's selling well, you don't have to kind of show the cards all the way through in a way. And, sometimes it just changes the atmosphere and the way fans react and the way the crowd excitement is. We saw that very much at Rager because everything was a surprise and everybody was excited for everything. And it was, so stuff like that is, as strange as it sounds, is certainly like influential in a way in how we're looking at approaching 2025. So, I guess that's kind of an interesting, kind of cliff note from Wrestle Rager as a whole. It's not, your usual crazy storytelling that happens from, coming out of Wrestle Rager. But, yeah, it's just, one of those things that helps us kind of, look and go, we can have this kind of fun atmosphere all the time if we can get in the right venue and market things right. And, that's what we want. We want that kind of atmosphere at the Roxy. You know what I mean? We want that kind of atmosphere back at, the Tadmore. We want that exciting, everyone wants to be there. Everybody's happy. Everybody's having fun. We want that atmosphere again. And, Wrestle Rager is like the perfect, kind of infomercial for fun. As far as, we need to, if we could put this energy in a bottle, it would be, it's the perfect recipe.
To me, it was like an immediate make good on, not that, like you said, not that many people were, I'm not going to come now because Marty Jannetty's not there, but it was a mystery card. We start the show and Rhino comes out. It was like an immediate, like, all right, we got something for you. Maybe Marty Jannetty's not going to be here, but we got some shit for you. And this is just going to start off the craziness that is the day of Wrestle Rager. And I think, like you said, then from there on, everyone else was just like, what's next now? And that vibe and that atmosphere of holy shit, anything could happen. Who knows what's next is just such an electric level of, of crowd level. I can't wait to get back to that.
Yeah. And I just hope that we're able to kind of, get these, these shows back to getting that kind of level of excitement as a whole, and kind of get the crowd levels up and the excitement up. And we're trying to, if nothing else, we're trying to make adjustments, and we're trying, like we could have just stayed at the Temple and things would have been probably fine. And, we would have done what we needed to do to try to sell as many tickets as we could, and, all that stuff. But we're, trying to make these adjustments as a whole for the long-term health of AIW and just the excitement and atmosphere and vibes and, all those kind of hot button words. As like dumb as it sounds, like it is very much, a top priority for 2025 to get, things back to the, those levels and really focus on those things. Because the atmosphere and the crowd support pushes us forward, and we certainly need to kind of continue to evolve things to where we can maintain that kind of level of support and excitement. And I realize that as much as the crowds were getting pretty big at the Temple, it was also distancing our overall engagement and support. So, we want to get back to that really, kind of intimate levels of engagement, support, and, all that stuff. And, hopefully that sort of stuff can build AIW, going forward. And then, maybe we go to a bigger venue once a year or something like that. But, I think it's more about maintaining that level of just, just excitement and atmosphere. I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but I really feel like it's very important.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a direction that I agree with you. I think this is the right direction to take. With that being said, if you haven't gotten your ticket yet for Hell on Earth 19 this Friday at Forest Sports in Eastlake, Ohio for Black Friday, get your tickets.
It's selling a little lighter than past Eastlake events, so I'm hoping for a big run this week, coming out of the holiday and going into Friday morning. It's still a little light. I would like to see probably double the amount of tickets that we have sold right now by bell time Friday. So it's a kind of a tall task. We are running a little bit behind, the usual, Eastlake crowd levels as of right now. So I'm hopeful that we can see a big run this week and get a lot of people out and pack that place on Friday.
Bring some of those in-laws out from Thanksgiving on Thursday. I'm sure they're going to ask you still watching that wrestling? Yes, come with me tomorrow to the Four Sports in Eastlake and check it out. And then we will be back in Akron on December 28th for Terror at the Tadmore. Tickets for that are on sale. And then we will be returning, our faithful return to the greater Cleveland area in 2025 to the Roxy in Lakewood for Concepts of a Plan. That will be on January 17th. So get all tickets, all available for all 3 shows. Anything else you want to get to before we get out of here, Thorne?
No, just hope to see a lot of people there on Friday nights. Really want to pack the Four Sports. I think it's a really good card. I think it's a very strong card. We just need people to come out and support it. So, I feel like I've done everything I can do to put a good card together for Friday. It's kind of like, now the ball is in the court of the fans to see if they'll come out and support it.
Fair enough. I hope to see everyone out there this Friday. Like I said, great card, packed house. We'll see everyone this Friday at 4 Sports. Thanks.